Hi, today I will show you how an AI agent can create and deploy for you a web application starting from a textual description of the app. This time, the application we create is an internal tool to manage a restaurant. We will use AppifyText.ai. AppifyText is an AI agent that uses artificial intelligence and a no-code, low-code platform called DaDaBIK to create and deploy the app. If you're familiar with AI code generation, for example using ChatGPT, this is a completely different approach. With ChatGPT or other similar tools, you get some code that you have to use to integrate, maybe edit, and finally deploy. What you get as output by this AI agent is instead a working application that you can run with a click. And this is, after some refinements, the application we will build. My name is Eugenio Tacchini, I'm a computer scientist. I've been working on no-code, low-code for more than 20 years, and since the beginning of 2023, I started to work a lot on the intersection between AI and no-code, low-code. I also work in academia teaching databases and data science in college. So we can start now. First visit AppifyText.ai. I'm already logged in, as you can see. If you are not registered yet, I recommend to pause the video and register to follow this tutorial. It takes literally 1 second. It's a free registration. Only email and password are required, no credit card. Okay? So, if you are logged in, here in this box, you describe to AppifyText the app you want to create. So, well, let's talk about the app first. Let's say we have a restaurant and let's say it's a pizzeria. So we serve pizza and we need a simple application to manage our restaurant. So to manage reservations, orders, customers, and so on. So, for example, the manager can use the app to take the reservations. Waiters can use the app to take the orders. People working in the kitchen immediately see the orders and can work on it, on them. Typical restaurant workflow. We can give a name to our application, my pizza app, let's say, and then we describe the application in English, in plain English, or in your own language. So we can start with something very generic, like create a restaurant management system. And guys, we could stop here. That's enough. You would get a generic, like an average restaurant management system. But the more details we add, the more the app will be customized to our needs, obviously, right? So let's talk more about the business. Let's give some context. So we can say something like we serve pizza. The restaurant is on 2 floors with 20 tables for each floor. Okay, this is some context we give for describing the application. Now let's talk about the information we need to represent. We said before that for sure we need to manage reservations and orders, right? So we can say I need to track reservations. Let's be precise about that. So with date, for each reservation I want to save the date, time and number of people, and orders made by customers. Each order is for a specific table, right? When we take the order is for a table and can contain many items. This is obvious for us, but it's better to, again, to be precise, to add details for our AI agent, okay? Maybe giving examples as well. For example, 2 pizzas and 3 drinks. How about the waiters? We can say that 3, for example, different waiters take care of the orders. Okay, this is, I think, good enough to start. So let's click here, create this app. So let me clarify that this is just an example. If you're following this tutorial using this prompt is fine, but feel free to try other applications. You have some examples here, but some use case, but feel free to write your own description for your own use case. The kind of applications AppifyText is very good with are internal tools, personal databases, business apps, CRUDs, and the like. So just experiment, okay? While I was talking, the agent designed our app, installed our app on a server, and now the app is created and deployed. So if I click here, I can already use a first draft of the app. All right, let's do it. Run the app. Here is the app. As promised, we don't get code as output. We get the actual app already deployed. It's there. Installed, deployed, we can just use it. Here on your left, you see the main pages of your app. Most of them are entities, elements of our use case, let's say, we need to manage. So for example, we have customers, we have orders, we have reservations, and so on. The app comes with the classic CRUD features. So we can create, read, edit, and delete data. We also have a spreadsheet like edit, something we call inline edit. So I can just click here and change the price for a pizza, for example. But we also have built-in other features: chart generation, pivot table generation. We will see some of them later. It's a responsive app, so it works fine on mobile phones. You have 23 languages available. The app we have created is now saved in your account. So in my app library now there are 2 applications. Car rental business, that is something I created for another tutorial, and my pizza app. Okay, so the first thing I suggest to do before starting to work is to change your password. AppifyText by default creates only one user, an admin user called root. As you can see, I'm logged in as root. I can just, from your account, you can just change your password. I won't do that. This is just a demo, but please do it. Now, let's use our app for the typical workflow of our restaurant. Let's see if it actually fits our need. Let's start with the reservation workflow. So let's say that a customer, a new customer, calls us to reserve a table. So from customers, I can add a new customer. Let's say the name is Bob, and just a random phone number. Okay, all right. Now we have the new customer. We move to reservations. We create a new reservation. As customer, we choose Bob, the one we created 10 seconds ago, and then reservation date, let's say, is I don't know, September 16th, and reservation time is 20. Number of people, let's say 4. Okay, first thing we could improve about this app is the fact that there is a missing field here for each reservation. Probably we need the table, right? So we make a reservation for a particular customer on a particular date and time for a number of people, and we reserve a specific table. We need to add this information as well. So here I have a document where I will take notes of the things we want to improve, and then we will see how to do that. Okay, so basic improvements. First thing is missing, let's make it bigger, missing table on reservations. Okay, and this is the reservation. Let's move to the order workflow. So let's say that later we will see that we can have several users with different roles using the application, but for the moment let's do everything as root, the only user we have so far. So let's say I'm taking the order, so create new, and let's say that is for the table 6, and I am the waiter Tom Smith. This is something else we need to change. So according to the waiter, well, since I'm logged in as root, it makes sense I choose the waiter, but this is something the waiters will use. So this should be automatically selected according to the waiter who is logged in at the moment. Okay, so waiter for orders automatically set. Okay, order date, let's say it's August 20, order time is 2015, and save. This date and time should also be improved. When I add a new order, obviously the date and time is the current date and time. So it doesn't make sense that I have to fill it manually. The system should set the current date and time. So current date and time when a new order is created. All right. Then, so this is the order. Then we have the order items. Okay, order and order items. This was the order having ID 4. As you can see, for each entity, let's say, we have an ID field that uniquely represent each row, each record in the table, right? In order items, we can add for the order number 4 all the items. So for example, we can add 2 pizzas margarita and 2 bottles of water, for example. And here we go with another improvement. From order items, as we said, we can say, okay, for the order ID 4, we add 2 pizzas margarita, and that is the first item, and then another item, water, and again 2, and again order having ID 4. Okay, it works. It's not very user-friendly. So one additional thing we can do is the so-called master details view. So when I'm in order and I see the order here, I can add the items directly from here without moving to another, let's say, entities. Okay, so let's take note of this. Master details view for orders, order items. Okay, all right, so a few other general things I see we should change. So items is not very it's not a very good term, I think. I mean, they are items, but basically this is our menu, so this should become menu. So items, menu, and then what else? Yeah, here in menu we only have name and price, but we probably want a description of each item, of each menu item, and maybe a picture as well. So for add fields to menu, image and description, and for order items maybe we could add something like special requests. So if I want a pizza margarita with, you know, some special request, I can add that there. The menu add field special requests to order items. Okay, right, then orders. Yeah, I would say we need a sort of status field for orders, at least something that tells us if an order has been already paid. So orders paid, yes, no. And finally, I want, it's not that I need, but I want for this app a page with some charts. For example, one interesting chart could be a time series where I see the reservations month by month, so I can see how the business is going. Okay, charts, time is reservation month by month. Okay, so I think we have noted things we want to improve, right? At least the most important ones. Now, to implement those improvements, you have 2 approaches, 2 solutions. The first one, obviously, is you write a better prompt. So for some of the things we noted here, we can fix them just by writing a better prompt. Okay, the one we wrote here. The second option, and this is the one we are going to use, is to use this edit this app button. When you click on edit this app, I will open on a different tab on my browser, a completely different area of the app will be displayed. And here you can customize your application using a no-code tool. Let me give you some very simple examples, and then we will see more details later. So we said before that we don't like items here. We want to use the word menu. So from pages, this is the list of our pages. Items becomes menu, and save. Let's say we want an icon for each menu item. We can use icons from boxicons.com, regular icons. For example, let's search for restaurant. Yes, we have a restaurant icon. Its name is just, restaurant. So we can copy here the name of the icon and save. Let's go back here. Okay, we have menu and we have an icon. Let's say that this should be the first item in our left menu. So we don't like the order of the items, so we can just change it from here, menu, and here we go, menu. Okay, so these are two very simple things I've changed. We will see much more later. Okay, we will use a lot this admin area to change forms and fields, to set permissions, to change the layout. But before proceeding, let me explain in more detail what is happening, because this is quite important. So we said that AppifyText.ai is an AI agent that uses AI and the no-code, low-code platform DaDaBIK to build and deploy an application for you. So this is a simplified version of what is happening, but it's definitely the core of the process. The output of this process is a DaDaBIK application. This means that now, after the creation, you can use the DaDaBIK no-code features, these ones, to modify the app. Okay? Not only that, again, this is a standard DaDaBIK application, so if you have DaDaBIK installed on your computer, on a hosting service, wherever you can have it, you can import this application there, on your computer, on your hosting, on Amazon AWS, wherever you want. This is what I meant when I talked about the intersection between AI and no code. Okay? Let's continue now. Let's see another page of the admin area, the data page. In the data page, we see all the tables we have in our application. If you're familiar with relational databases, you know what a table is, right? But even if you're not, probably you are familiar with the concept of table anyway, right? So a table is a data structure having rows and columns. Each row represents, for example, a customer, like here, right? And each column represents a customer's property, characteristic, feature, right? So from here, from this data page, you can add new tables and modify existing ones. For example, adding new columns. So, for example, for the table items, we wanted to add a picture and a description field, right? So let's do it. Let's add the two columns. So add field and add field description and image. We have to choose the field type among integer, decimal, short text, long text. We will talk about this later. For the moment, let's just choose short text for the description, and let's make it nullable yes. This means the description can be null technically, so without description. And image, also in this case, short text and yes. Why short text? Because a DaDaBIK application saves the name of the file here and not the file itself. But again, I will talk about that later. For the moment, let's just see what is happening after our operation here. After having added the field, save changes. And let's go back to menu. Well, maybe you are confused here because this here the name is still items, because the table where you store the data is still called items. This is just what the final user will see, the word menu. And now we have description and image as well. So for example, we can add a description here saying blah blah blah, whatever you want, and adding a picture. Okay, and file uploaded. Save and go back, and here we go. We have our picture and our description. Let me say something more about field types. So let's go back here. Field types. So, well, if you know that, for example, your field will only contain integer numbers, well, you should set it as integer, for example, obviously, right? As you can see here, these are very simple and general field types that reflect the field type of the underlying database. So if you are familiar with relational databases, short text, for example, is a varchar 255 field type. Well, if you're not familiar, don't worry, it's not very important. But it's important to understand that in another page of the admin area, the form configurator that we'll use in a moment, you will see for each field two additional parameters: the DaDaBIK field type and the field content. Those parameters are way more specific than these ones. For example, you have the field content email. An email field can only contain valid email addresses, for example. This could be confusing at the beginning if you are new to DaDaBIK, so maybe you're wondering why you set a field type here and another more specific in form configurator. But when you become a more advanced user of DaDaBIK, you will see that this is actually very useful. It allows you to separate the database from the application and logic layer. Behind this application, the one you see here, there is just a standard MySQL database that you can export and use in another application, for example. Okay? But anyway, I'm giving too many technical details right now, so let's go back to our list of improvement. All right, so this is done, and this is done as well. So I want to implement this item right now. Current date and time when a new order is created. So we said that when we create a new order, we don't want to type manually here the date and time. It should be set automatically, and maybe we can leave just one field instead of two fields, date and time, just one field containing date and time. All right, so we are in the data page on the admin area. Orders, we can delete order time. Okay, delete the field. We have only order date now. Maybe we can change the field name, order date time, and the field type is now date and time, right? Okay. All right. Nullable, I would say no now. And to make it automatic, we need to move to the form configurator. So I click here, orders. Here you see a section, a page of the admin area that we will use a lot to set the properties of each field belonging to a form. In particular, what we mentioned before, the DaDaBIK field type and the content type. So for the table orders and for the field order date time, the field type, it used to be date, now it should be insert date time. What is insert date time? It's a particular field type that is automatically excluded from the insert form. By the way, in the form configurator, on your left, for each field belonging to a table, you see a lot of parameters you can set, and on the right pane, you see the form preview. You can preview the form using different user groups and different form types: search form, edit form, insert form, details page. But let's stay on the insert form. So the field disappears from the insert form. Why? Because by default, the current date and time is inserted by the system into the field. So it doesn't make sense to have the field in the insert form. So we save here, and let's go back to our application. I reload this page, and here we go. We have table ID and waiter ID. Let's try. So on the table one, waiter ID, so waiter, we can change the label later here. Tom Smith, save, and here we go. We have a new item here, a new item with the current date and time. All right. Okay, so this is done as well. Next one, master details view for orders, order items. So the idea here was that when I'm in the edit form, by the way, can you see now that the order date, well, it's date time, so we can fix, let me fix also the labels here. So from the form configurator, we can also change the labels of the field. So instead of table ID, this is not very clear for final user. Just table is enough. The same for waiter ID. We can just have waiter as label. So what the user see in the form, which is different respect to the field name. Okay. And finally, order date time, order date time. Okay, so here now we have table, waiter, order, date time. But I was talking about master details view. So here I want to see after the form, below the form, the items related to that order. To do that, from again the form configurator, and in particular from the ID field, I configure a master details view. So here I can add one or more details table that are, let's say, linked to this table, in a master details way. The table we want to add as details here is order items, and here we need to select from the order items table the field that links, let's say, the table to the main one, to the orders table, that is order ID, right? So in the order items table, for each order item we have the order ID, that is the order that item is connected to. Okay? And save. So let's reload this. Now we have another element appearing, no items found, because we don't have any order items connected to this order, but we can create a new item here. So for example, for these orders, and as you can see, the order ID is pre-selected and I cannot change it. We have three pizzas, margherita, and here we go, and also let's say 2 Cokes. Okay, so for this order we see the master, including table, waiter, and order date time, and the items related to this order. And this is again the field, this one, order ID, that links the items table to the master table. Okay, for the orders having ID 5, we have 2 records on the order items table having both order ID 5, obviously. All right. Okay. So, well, as you can see now, the workflow is faster, because before adding as a master detail the order items table, we needed to go to the order items page, create a new item here, and we needed to remember the ID of the order. So everything was more complex and slower. All right. Okay, so this is done as well. Okay, let's move to the very first improvement, missing table on reservation. So when we create a reservation, we have the customer ID, the reservation date, time, number of people, but we don't have the table, right? So we need to add a field to the reservations table. Let's do it, and as you can imagine from the data page, reservation, add field, and where here, since tables is a table in our system, so we have a table named tables containing all the information about the 20 tables we have in our restaurant. We can use here, I will show you, the use of a lookup field. So a field where, instead of the very basic solution would be to have a field with a classic text box where I have to enter the number of the table. However, a smarter solution is to have a drop-down menu containing only, the values coming from our tables here. So the 20 tables we have. That's a lookup field. So we call it, we can call it table, but I would call it table ID because it will contain the ID of the table in the tables table. Sorry again, but the wording is a bit confusing in this case. So table ID will be an integer number. Let's say that right now is nullable yes, just because, let me check, we have already some reservation that are without table ID. So for the moment will be yes. Then we need to move it to change it to no, probably. So table ID. Okay, so now we have a standard text box for table ID, but we said this is not what we want. We want a lookup field. To define this as a lookup field, we need to go to the form configurator, reservation, table ID. We can call it just table as label, and as you can see, the preview is automatically refreshed. And this is not a text field anymore. It must be a select single field. What is a select single field? A select single field is a drop-down menu from which you can choose just one element. All right. The options you have here must be defined, obviously, and you can define them in two ways. You can have an hard-coded list of options, or if you want a lookup field, you give to the system the information about the lookup table, so where DaDaBIK should take the options. And that's what we want to do. The lookup table name is tables. The lookup table primary key field, the primary key of tables is ID. If you are familiar with relational databases, the primary key is, I'm simplifying a little bit, but the field that uniquely identifies each single record, each single row in a table, okay? And it's ID. So by default, AppifyText creates tables having as primary key a field called ID. Linked fields. These are the fields you want to see here. So what we want to see is the table number that maybe in our case is exactly like the ID, because we have 20 tables having ID from 1 to 20 and having number from 1 to 20, but the number could be a completely different in a completely different format. Okay, it could be like A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, according to the floor, for example. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the drop-down menu. So let's save and see if it's working. Okay. So I see something weird here because I thought we had 20 tables totally, but here it seems we have 20 tables for each floor. Okay, I'm Let me check here. Tables. Exactly, we have 40 tables, 20 for each floor. All right. So in this way, it's it's difficult to recognize. Well, probably the first ones are for the first floor, and the second half for the second floor. But we cannot assume it is like that. So what we can do is we can add an additional linked field with the floor. Okay, so what the user will see here, save, let's go back, is the table number and the floor number. So 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2. So this is, for example, the table 4 of the floor 2. Okay. All right. So this was a lookup field, and missing table on reservation is also done. Okay, I'm realizing here that we missed an important point. Waiter for orders automatically set, but before that we need to work on users and groups. Okay, user and groups management. So first we need to explain how to manage users and groups, and then we can go for this part. Okay, but some little things before. Orders. We need a field paid yes/no. So let's go back here. So in orders, we need an additional field. So data and orders paid, and that's a short text with just yes or no. Okay, for the same reason we mentioned before, for the moment we set it to nullable yes and save. For this kind of fields, the best field type is the select single radio. A select single radio is a field that allows to, exactly as the select single, allows to choose one item from a list, but in this case, instead of having a drop-down menu, you have radio buttons. And in this case, we need a hard-coded list of options. This is not a lookup field, right? And this is how I copy and paste an example from the inline help. We just need to, list all the options and separate the option using the tilde character. So yes and no. Okay, and that's it. Paid, yes, no. Okay, radio buttons. For order items, I think we need a sort of status also for order items. Why? Because the system, the kitchen, the waiters need to know if an order item has been delivered or not to the table, right? So for order items, add field, status, short text, form configurator, and status. Once again, we want select single radio, status, and I would say that 3 different options are needed here. One is waiting. So the order items has been added and is, waiting to be delivered. Then we have delivered. And then I was thinking that also canceled could be a good option. So the customer orders something, but then they change their mind and they cancel the item. Okay. So for order item we have waiting, delivered, and canceled. Okay. If you want to improve even more the usability, you can remove this from the insert form using permissions. This is something we can see later, and set a default field. We can set a default field right now, actually, because it's very simple. A default value, waiting, right? When you the default value is the value that the system prompts when you create a new item. So in that case, it makes sense to have the waiting. Let's go back, create new item, the waiting option selected by default, right? Okay, so let's say that, we also need special requests. I forgot that. Data, order items, special requests. I would say that this should be a long text, because maybe we need to add a long description. Okay, special request. And as you can see, the long text, the long text field type in the form configurator is by default set as a text area. A text area is basically like a text box, but bigger with multiple lines, right? Okay. And this is done. This is done. Okay, charts. Here we want a page showing us how our business is going. The number of reservation month by month. We don't have much reservation in our database, only 4. So before continuing, let me add some artificial data just to show you a better chart. Okay, I will see you in a second. Okay, we have a lot of data now, more than 100 customers and more than 1,000 orders, right? So, and for each order we have some items, so we can work on our chart. So let's go back to orders. We can generate a chart from here by clicking generate chart on the main table we are using for the chart. We can create a chart just using this interface, but we can also use SQL if you know it, to create a more advanced report. But let's use the simple option. We want a line chart first of all, and we need to aggregate data by order date time. And on our line chart, on the y-axis, we want to show the count, the number of rows in the orders table. So now I'm realizing that before I was talking about a chart related to the reservations. But now, right now, I'm doing the chart on the orders. It's also good, you know. We will see, also looking at the orders, or maybe it's even better, we can see how the business is going also in that way. How many orders we have received for each month. So we want to see the number of orders for each, not for each date time, but for each month. So let me explain this point. When you aggregate your data, think about the orders as rows in the orders table, right? When you aggregate data by a field that is a date field, a new option appears here, and you can take a particular component of the data, of the date, in our case the month. So we want to group together all the orders received in the same month, and we want to have the number of orders for that month displayed in our chart. Okay, that's what we want to do. For example, if I select year, we would see the number of orders for each year. But if you check our orders, we only have orders in 2024 starting from January the 1st to mid-August, more or less. Okay, so let's try. Okay, this is our chart. We make it bigger. All right. Okay, so this is how our business is going in terms of orders received by the waiters. Okay, we can see that there is a drop in March and a drop in August, but this could be due to the fact that we have data until more or less mid-August. Okay, so now, well, every time you reload this page, you get you get your chart refreshed using the latest version of the data. But what if you want to have a page here containing this chart instead of creating the chart every time? You can do that, and you can do that by creating a page. So in pages, here we have the pages based on tables. The one we need to create is not based on a table, is a custom page. A custom page. The only custom page we have so far is the home page, this one. We want to add an additional page. We call it orders chart, for example. We enable it. What kind of page is this? We have 4 types of custom pages. The one we need to use for this particular case is internal link. Why? Well, we just need to link to take this URL, this internal URL, the one starting with index. I copy this and I paste it here. So we will have a page, that means a new item will appear in the left menu here that will just, links this page, because using this URL you can regenerate this chart. And each time you regenerate it, you will get the chart according to the latest version of the data. Okay? And save. So if you reload the application here, you don't see the page here as expected. Why? Because the way AppifyText is set, is configured, when you add fields, for example, as we did before, to a table, for those fields, the permissions are automatically set. So we added, for example, the description of the menu, and we saw that new fields here, right? Immediately. This is not the way the custom pages are configured. For the custom pages, you have to go to permissions, and this is yet another page of the admin area that we will see in a minute. But from here, you set permissions. So you set what users can do on the applications. I will show you just a little thing here, because for custom pages order chart, we just need to say that the admin group, the group our user belongs to, can see, can view the page. Order chart can be viewed by people belonging to the admin group. Okay, order chart, now we have our menu item. You can add an icon if you want, if you like, pages, order chart, chart, line chart. Okay. So next thing will be users and groups. We will discuss in detail users and groups management and how to set permissions. So how to set what users can do on your application. For example, we can say that managers can do everything while waiters cannot. For example, we can say that waiters cannot change the menu, for example. Okay, that is a very, very important part of the application, setting permissions. But before continuing, if you are enjoying the video so far, a like here on YouTube doesn't hurt. It's very welcome. And if you want to see more videos like this one, subscribe the channel and hit the notification bell to get notified when a new video will be published. This is the second video on this content format I published. The first one, in the first one, we developed a car rental system, and I decided to publish a second similar video, this time about a restaurant, because the first video generated a lot of interest. So the idea is to publish, to share other videos like this one soon. I have some ideas about apps to develop, but if you have ideas about apps you would like me to develop, please share those ideas with me. You can use the AppifyText contact form. You can find it at AppifyText.ai/contacts, or you can just add a comment here on YouTube. All right? Thanks for your support, and let's start now with users and groups management. So if you are logged in as admin, well, we know that let's repeat that this is a multi-users application. So in your application you can have several users. Each user can belong to a group, a user group. Actually, even to more than one, but let's keep it simple for the moment. By default, when you create an AppifyText application, the user root belonging to the admin group is created. Okay, and now we are logged in as root. If you are logged in with a user belonging to the admin group, you will see this label here, this group here, this folder, admin, with users and groups. So here you see the list of the users, just one, root. And here the list of the groups, the admin group and the default group. These are two groups created by default by AppifyText. We don't need a default group, to be honest, so we can delete this. So now we have one user and one group. Again, this is something you see only if you log in as an admin. Otherwise, this won't be displayed. The other permission that admin users always have is the permission to edit this app, so to access this admin area. If you are logged in with a user that is not belonging to the admin group, you cannot access this area. You cannot change the application. You can use the application, but you cannot change, edit, configure the application. Okay? All right. So how many groups do we need? I would say that we need the managers and the waiters. Okay. As an additional improvement, maybe we could also add a public group, so a public user, a user that can access our application also without logging in, for example, just to see the menu, but let's keep it simple for the moment. So groups, create new. I can create a new group because I'm root, I'm an admin user, and that's, managers, first one, and then waiters. Okay, all right. Now let's add some users to these groups. So users, create new. We always use the same examples, Bob and Alice, as users of our application. Obviously, you can add as many users as you want. So let's say that Bob, we don't need to specify all the properties. Bob belongs to the waiters, and as password, I just type Bob. Okay, obviously this is not a good password. You should choose a complex one, but this is just a demo. I select no here. By default, when an admin create a new user setting a password, then at the first login the user needs to change the password, and that's a good practice. But for the demo we leave this set to no and save. And then Alice is a manager, password Alice. Okay, Google Chrome warns that this is not a good password, So I do something different. Alice $45. Okay. All right, we have the users. Now we need to set the permissions. Let's go to permissions and let's see how things work here. So from the permissions page, you can set the permissions for all your tables and all your custom pages. Okay, so for example, customers, group admin, the users belonging to the admin group can do basically everything, right? So we have table level permission and field level permissions. Here we set on table level what the users belonging to this group can do. They can read from customers, they can delete records from customer, they can edit, they can create, they can access the details page. This is the details page. And they can also export to CSV. All right. Then you have field level permissions, because for example, here on create, you set that they can create new customer, but here you set which fields you want to be displayed in the insert form when you create a new customer. They are all set to yes, except from ID. Why? Because ID, the field automatically created by default by AppifyText, is a so-called auto-increment field. So when you create a new customer, a value is automatically assigned to the ID. So you don't need, actually you don't have to, well, let me rephrase. You have to exclude the field, that field from the insert form. In fact, customers, when I create a new customer, the ID is not there. And the same for, for the other field level permissions. So here you set if the field must appear in the results table, the results grid, so this one. Okay, so for example, if I do this, now we see the ID on the results grid. If I reload, it's gone, right? So on the results grid, on the edit form, for the edit form you have an additional option, this one, disabled. This means that you can exclude the field from the edit form, you can include the field in the edit form and leave it editable, or if you click here, you can see the field, but it's disabled. The user cannot change it. Create, details page, quick search. This is the quick search form. And then advanced search. This is the advanced search form. And CSV. Okay? So this is our permissions page. Now, if we check managers, we will see that none of the, all the permissions are set to no, because by default, this is what happens. Obviously, we can go through all the tables here and custom pages and set the permissions, but this would be time consuming. So what we can do is to copy permissions from another group. So at the moment we know that admin can do everything, right? So we can copy. And since we also want the managers to be able to do everything, we can copy from admin to managers. And if we leave this empty, like this, the permissions will be copied for everything. Tables, custom pages. All right. Remember that there are just two permissions that are not copied because those only belong to the admins, and these are the ability to see and manage user and groups and the ability to see the admin area. So even if you copy from admin to managers, these two permissions will not be copied. Okay? Then, how about waiters? Let's do the same for waiters. Copy. All right, but this time we need to remove some permission from the waiters, because we said that waiters, for example, cannot change the menu. So items was the table representing the menu. They can read, they cannot delete, they cannot edit, they cannot create. Okay, and save. And you can do other, modifications that you think are useful for the waiters. This was just an example. One thing I always remind is that when if you are editing your application live, if your application is in production, it's not a good approach to copy and then remove the permissions, because at least for a while waiters will have all the permissions. This could be in many applications maybe this is not a problem. In some other application it is. So you should suspend your application maybe. So you should, for example, suspend your application while you are doing this. But let's move on. What I want to show you, yes, I want to show you how other users see the application. So let's log out and let's log in as Bob. Bob is a waiter. Okay, so Bob can see everything, as you can see here, but if I click on edit this app, it doesn't work because I'm not allowed to do it. And I don't see user and groups here. The other parts of the applications are exactly the same, but on menu, I can only see the records and export them, right? I cannot delete, I cannot edit, I cannot create a new item. Okay, so users and groups management, done. Automatically set waiter for orders. Okay, this requires some changes. Let me tell you why. Well, first of all, I need to log in again with root and so the idea was here we want the current logged in waiter to be automatically selected when a new order is created, right? That was the original idea. The thing is that AppifyText created a waiters table, but if you think about it, we don't need that table anymore, because now waiters are just users. So our 3 waiters will be inserted here as users, belonging to the group waiters. Okay, so we don't need this table anymore. We will delete that, but let me show how we can proceed. Data, orders. Let's leave waiter ID for the moment, and let's add an additional field that we can call waiter, just waiter. And that's a short text field. Okay, so now in form configurator, waiter, instead of text, we can select ID user. What is ID user? ID user is a particular field type in DaDaBIK that allows to set automatically a field value when you insert a new record with the username of the currently logged in user. Let's see in practice what happens. So first of all, this waiter, well, let me do this. So we are setting the permissions for the group waiters on the table orders. Okay, so the waiter field in the create form should not be displayed. Why? Because it's automatically set with the username of the current user. Let's assume that only waiters take orders, all right? But otherwise, we should do the same thing for the other groups. Create no, and managers create no. Okay, so let's see what happens if I log out, log in as Bob, orders, create new, table 1, paid no. This is something we could set as default. Okay, and save. As you can see here, automatically the waiter is set to Bob because Bob is the currently logged in user. I didn't fill this field because right now is not useful anymore. So I log in again as root. And one very interesting thing I want to show you that is kind of related to the use of the ID user field type. Remember that here now waiter is a field type ID user, is that in permissions we have an additional option I didn't discuss before, the my option. This is what we call ownership permissions. So every time you have for a table an ID user field, you can use the ownership permission. So for example, for waiter and for the table orders, you can say that waiters can see the orders, that's fine, or they cannot see the orders, or they can only see their own orders. This means that the waiter Bob, for example, can only see the orders created by him. Okay? that is very, very powerful. There are many possibilities to use this particular feature, and you can do the same for delete and edit. So for example, you can say that waiters can see all the orders, but they can delete only their own orders. So this would mean that Bob can see all the orders, also the ones created by other waiters, but Bob can only delete his own orders, the orders he took. All right, the same for edit. This is very, very powerful. Okay, let's remove also this one. This was also done. Okay, there are a few things that we still need to do. One was the required fields, set required fields. So to set a field as required, it's very simple. So let's say that name is required, so you cannot add a customer without a name. In form configurator, customers, name, required. That's it. So now name is required, and if you try to add a new customer without a name, you get an error. Okay? When a field is required, it's a good practice to have also nullable no on the data page. Okay, that is that is how to set fields as required. And another thing I noticed was here on reservation. So on reservation, when we take a reservation, we have this long list of customer. Obviously, it's not very, user friendly. It's maybe hard to check if the customer is already in our list or not. So we can go here, form configurator, reservation, customer ID, and we make it user-friendly searchable. That's an option that make the field is still technically a drop-down menu, but you can search inside. So I don't know, John, I see all the users having JOH in their name. Okay, maybe we can add an additional linked field here, so it would be easier to check if that is exactly the customer we are talking about. So phone, we add also the phone here, customer. Okay, so here we have also the phone number. So let's test the workflow. I am the manager, a customer call for reservation, and I check here. The customer says, I'm John Smith, and I can ask, are you the John Smith with phone number 555-1234? Yes, so this is the customer to select. No, well, that means we need to add an additional customer. Okay. Okay, so this is the first refined version of our app, of our restaurant management system app. It is hosted here on AppifyText.ai. This is a free temporary host with some limitations. If you want to permanently publish your app in production on your own server, on your own cloud, even on your own laptop, if you want, unlocking all the features, including low coding, and I'm going to talk about low coding and about all those additional features in a minute, you need a DaDaBIK license. Or you can start a monthly subscription of DaDaBIK here, directly from here. You can cancel anytime. The first month is free, and I'm giving you a coupon code for the second month. So let me just show the process. Start free trial. Okay, 30 days free trial. Today is August the 20th, so the trial will end on September 18, and after the first 30 days, the price is $19 per month. However, if you enter this coupon code, it's YouTube 24, apply YouTube 24, it's just $9 US dollars for the second month. Then if you want to continue, again, you can cancel anytime, even during the free trial. But if you want to continue, starting from the third month, you will be charged with the regular price that at the moment is 19. Okay? Well, you fill all the information here. You start your free trial. You get a link. You download DaDaBIK. You can install DaDaBIK on your computer, on your hosting service, wherever you want. You export the application from AppifyText, and you import it in DaDaBIK. Okay, that's the process. On the top of that, let me tell you that if you don't want to go through the creation of the app, you can also contact us at dadabik.com/contacts. You send us your serial number, the one you get if you start a free trial, and we'll give you a link to download this app that you can import in your DaDaBIK. So now let me tell you, as promised, which additional features you get if you get a DaDaBIK license, for example, starting a subscription here. I don't think it's a complete list, but at least the most important ones are here. I'll read because otherwise I'm sure I will miss something. So no limits on the number of records, number of tables, number of users. Let me tell you that especially the last point is not very common. Many no-code, low-code platforms charge customers based on the number of users who use the application. For DaDaBIK, the users are unlimited. You can import from Excel and CSV file, also adding, for example, transformation rules if your Excel file does not fit exactly the database structure you have in your application. You have PDF generation, even using custom templates. So you can write your own custom template in HTML and export your data into PDF. You have layout hooks. What is a layout hook? Basically, in your application, in the user interface of your application, you have many layout hooks that are points in the user interface that you can use to add your own code. Let me give you an example. So let's open this record related to this customer. Let's say that you want to write some custom text exactly here. Okay, here you have a layout hook that is called customers edit after header. So here, after the header of the edit form. And there you can write your PHP, JavaScript, HTML code and the result of your code will be, displayed here. Okay, so then custom PHP pages. You can add here pages to your application that are completely custom. So maybe you need a very complex page for which you need to write your own PHP and JavaScript code from scratch. You can do that, but the page will be still integrated into the application. So for example, I don't know, who is the logged in user at the moment, because the authentication is integrated in your custom page. Then what else? Email notification. For example, I don't know, you can set the system to send an email to a particular address when a new customer is created, for example. Beta development mode. This is something that has been introduced only recently. So here you can choose if you want to develop the application in beta mode or in live mode. When you develop in beta mode, what you do when you edit the application and also in your custom code is only visible to admin users and optionally to some trusted users. So if you want to change something in your application, you can do it in beta mode, test your changes, your code, and when you are satisfied with the tests, you can push the changes in live. This means that all the users of the application will see what you changed. I'm not talking about the data here. I'm talking about changing the application itself, like adding, changing a label, for example, or changing a validation function, something like that. Okay. What else? Report embedding. So if you import this application into your DaDaBIK, for each report, it could be a results grid like this one. It could be a chart or a pivot table. You'll have a button that allows you to copy some code that can be used to embed the report into another page. So you can easily create dashboards with several charts, for example. Then the public user. Well, you can set a user as public, giving particular permissions. So a public user is a user that can see the application, can access the application, even if the user is not logged in. Okay, public user. And lastly, I need to talk about low code. On the top of all these features you get if you have a DaDaBIK license, you can also work with low code. What does it mean? Basically, it's a way to inject your code into the application, your PHP and JavaScript code. There are several ways you can use in DaDaBIK. Some of them are the following one. Custom buttons. You can create custom buttons in your interface that trigger the execution of your code. Calculated fields. You can have in your forms some fields that one or more fields that are calculated. So you have a formula that you can express with your own code. You can define with your own code, and the value of that field is set according to that formula. Then third method, operational hooks. So with operational hooks, when a particular event happens in the application, a custom function that you wrote is executed. These are just some of the methods you have. Obviously, what we have used so far is only no code. With low code, you reach another higher level of customization. All right. Okay, and here I wrote a list of improvements I would like to add to the application using low code. Okay, let me discuss them. First is invoice generation. I want to add a custom button, generate bill, that a custom button on the orders form that generates a printable invoice, plus another button that changes the status of the order to paid. So instead of manually change the status and then save, a button that changes the status automatically. Then a dashboard for the manager of the restaurant. The manager in the dashboard can see the chart we made before, plus a data table saying, displaying how many tables are currently busy. So a dashboard with multiple report. Then reservation validation. Now there's no validation, so I can add a reservation even if that particular table is already booked, reserved for that particular date and time. We need to fix that and to generate an error if the reservation is not possible. Then I would like to add a couple of buttons on the order items records, buttons for the cooks. A cook can click the button I work on it. It means that so I would say that, for example, here we could have here on the order item a button I work on it. It means that that particular user who is a cook, so we also need to add another user group to the application, will take care of this order item. Okay, and also another button, ready to deliver. Ready to deliver is an additional status for the order item. So far we have waiting, delivered, cancelled. We also need ready to deliver. So when the dish is ready, the cook can click that button, so the waiter knows that the item is ready to be delivered. Finally, inventory. Obviously our dishes need ingredients, and maybe our application can manage the ingredients inventory. I don't know, maybe integrating that with orders and reservation. I still have to think about it. Maybe this is something we can do with just no code. Well, it depends on the kind of things we want to implement for the inventory. Maybe I could implement these improvements in a part 2 of this tutorial. Let me know if you are interested, and What else? Well, if you started a free trial here and want to export the app and import it into your DaDaBIK, in another video, you should see this, a link of this video somewhere here, and I will also put the link in the description. In this other video, the one about the car rental system, I showed step by step the whole process, including deploying it to a hosting service with a custom domain. I don't think it makes sense to repeat everything here because the process is always the same regardless of the application you want to build. So start the trial using the coupon code YouTube24 and then follow the other video for publishing and deploying. All right, so I guess that's it for today. See you next time for another video. Ciao!